Essential Album. The Black Parade. Hosted by Travis Mills.
Welcome to the 15th anniversary Essential Album Special for My Chemical Romance's third studio album, The Black Parade, right here on Apple Music. And I'm honored to be joined by Gerard Way of My Chemical Romance. Gerard, welcome to the show, man. This is definitely a dream come true.
Right on. Thanks for having me.
Of course. You know, I want to start this off by asking, do you remember where the original idea for this full-fledged rock opera concept that combined punk and glam and Broadway album came from? Like, walk us through that first memory.
You know, I kind of feel like when the band started, I kind of came up with a plan, and I feel like I had a pretty good idea of the direction I thought we would be going in. And this is literally when the band started, and I kind of would like write down what I thought was a direction, like I knew what I wanted the first record to sound like. And basically the idea was to keep progressing more and more as the album kept going. But I feel like this really big kind of bombastic theatricality in the music as well started to emerge like sometime after 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge.
Wow, so you almost had, you know, the entire thing planned out from the very beginning.
Yeah, up to Black Parade, you know. And these were all like, you know, wish list stuff like, oh, you know, we'd be lucky to make the second record. We'd be lucky to make a third. But, you know, at least the first 3, like I had an idea of like where I thought we could go, what the potential was, you know. And just like a love of all things theatrical. And, you know, this movie Phantom of the Paradise was a big inspiration. You know, we had wanted to make kind of an important record about death. There wasn't a lot of bands or music, at least in mainstream or popular culture, that was kind of talking about these things.
100%, man. 100%. Well, you know, throughout the hour, we're going to take everybody through the album in chronological order, just how you guys intended the album to be heard. I want to kick it off with the very first track off the record and the song that sets the whole entire tone of the project. Talk to me about the idea of starting the album with The End.
My Chemical Romance has like a lot of inspiration, and one of the inspirations for me is David Bowie, and my favorite Bowie song is off Ziggy, and it's 5 Years. And I wanted to start the record with that kind of energy, but I wanted to convey right away in the very first song how over the top this experience was going to be. So that's kind of went so big and bombastic and dramatic and just kind of everything happening like right at once.
And that it is, my friend. Well, you know, without further ado, I want to get into it. Here is The End. Now come on to That was Dead right there, the second song from The Black Parade, and I have Gerard Way on the line. Gerard, if you can paint us a picture of what you remember, you know, from the studio sessions for this record. I know you said that, you know, there were some dark moments, but I also believe you made a makeshift studio while you were on Warped Tour. Which was the song that you guys finished first from the album, and were there any songs that you guys, you know, made in that makeshift Warped Tour studio?
Yeah, that was in the back of our bus. I know that one of the first written that way on the bus was This Is How I Disappear. And that was something I was working in the back with Ray and Frank, and I think Bob was even on the kit, and Mikey. So we worked on that and made a demo of it. And I was really happy with that one. There's a couple others that didn't make the cut. It was almost like a transitional period when we were writing, but we did get songs out of it. And I have a very fond memory of, I remember first getting the idea for Mama, and then we were playing in Chicago, and we were doing sound check, and we just said, fuck it, let's try to work this song out. And so...
No way.
Yeah, so we played Mama on stage. It wasn't finished, but we, like, literally working it out for the first time. Then we did our own sessions where we got together in New York City and just, you know, just kept going, kept writing songs. I can't remember where we were, but I think one of our first sessions, we wrote The End. And that's where we also refined Mama. And we wrote a lot, but we didn't like write a ton. It was almost like we're just kind of waiting to be possessed with intense emotion and just writing something out of pure inspiration. And we weren't waiting around for that all the time. Like, we would work through it. We would push hard, you know? But that project, Black Parade, really became more about quality than quantity. So, I think all the B-sides that were released from Black Parade are pretty much it. I think it's like a handful of B-sides.
Wow. So how many songs do you feel like were made before choosing, the original 14 that made the album?
Maybe in terms of the ones that were just kind of like abandoned, I think there was like maybe just 2, because like I said, Disappear ended up on the album. There was at least 2 others that didn't feel right for Black Parade. It felt by the time we were writing officially for Black Parade, we had already kind of shifted in this theatricality and kind of bombastic sound.
You are listening to the 15th anniversary of My Chemical Romance's The Black Parade right here on Apple Music. I want to get into Welcome to the Black Parade, which served as the first single from the album. Can you share a story about this song that many people might not know about?
I'm trying to think. Well, it was the hardest one to finish.
Why was that?
Because it ended up becoming deconstructed and kind of broken in order to rebuild it into something better. And after you've been playing a song for a couple months, it becomes harder and harder to make those changes as a group. But originally that song was called The Five of Us Are Dying, and we played it, and we really liked it. And I had felt that we needed like that one song on the record, like that touchstone that kind of introduces your concept, and then the lyrics and the themes of that song kind of embody the themes of the whole record. And we just kind of had like this punk song that was really cool, and we liked it, but nothing was about the song was speaking to me. It didn't feel like it was going to be on the album because all the other songs had like really strong themes and titles and things like that. But we didn't want to just give up on the song. So then I started to bring the concept into the musical side of things, where I was like, I want to call this Black Parade. I want there to be a parade on the record. So then we started kind of breaking the song and then reconstructing it. And it was around this time that I wrote the opening melody for piano that Rob played. And then once we reapproached it from the perspective of starting with a completely new introduction and a new way to start the song, it helped us like fix the rest of it.
Yeah. And, once the song was reconstructed, did you all automatically know that this one, just had to be the song that introduced the world to the Black Parade?
We could have gone like a number of different ways. I mean, I think the majority feeling was that, well, you should probably go with this one because it's a great, crazy song and has a lot of crazy sections. It also has your album title in the title. So a lot of people will often kind of push for that.
I mean, it's crazy to hear you say that you didn't even know if it was going to make the record.
Yeah. Anytime it got brought up before we started breaking it, anytime it kind of got brought up, especially by my A&R, Craig Aronson, I would just kind of shoo him away about it and be like, yeah, that song's about nothing. Like, I'm not interested in that one.
Oh, my God. Welcome back. I am joined by Gerard Way, and you just heard I Don't Love You. Fans have always longed for the Black Parade, the musical. Did you ever see it on Broadway, or would you ever consider it, making it a musical?
It is something that I've thought about more, not just recently, but in, let's say, recent years. There was talks very early about some kind of animated musical, and then there was talks a decade or so later about a musical, but the person who approached me about this musical, they said, are you ever interested in doing Black Parade as a musical? And I was like, to be honest with you, I think it's too soon at the time. I was like, I don't think the record has lived long enough. I was saying to them, like, I want to see if the record really stands the test of time. And then I think something like a musical could be very exciting. But it felt a little too young at the time to do something like a musical. But I'm open to it, sure.
Is there anyone you see playing the patient?
Oh, see, that would be the thing. Like, the Black Parade itself, just from all the art and the videos and the inside photographs, it really is this kind of massive world. So I think within that, you could do a number of things. Like, there's all kinds of different characters to explore. I mean, you could even end up with a totally different protagonist. So, like, I think there's lots of possibilities because the world ended up being so rich, visually and musically, I think anything is really possible in terms of that.
That was track number 8 from the Black Parade, titled Cancer. Let's talk about Mama. It's the only song with a feature on the Black Parade. And, that feature is none other than the legendary Liza Minnelli. What's your favorite memory of making this song? And, was there another feature idea for this, or did you always know that it had to be Liza?
I kind of always felt, because some features got brought up and stuff, but I had always wanted Liza Minnelli. That was it. And I intentionally just wanted that to be the only feature on the record. And it was just an amazing experience. She is like the sweetest, coolest person and so talented. And we had to record her remotely, actually. We were here in LA and she was in a studio in New York with an engineer. And we had to basically do it remotely through the control board. But it was super fun. And she just like went for it. And she was so enthusiastic. Then we got to meet finally when we played New York. And then another time she had invited Lindsay and I out to dinner. And so like she ended up becoming a person I got to know. And I think she got as much of a kick out of Mama as we did. So that was a really great experience.
I got Gerard Way on the line. 15 years later, lyrically, what is your favorite song from the album now?
I really like Famous Last Words, but I think my favorite is Mama. Oh, no, it's Sleep. That's what my favorite always is. Mama's really up there, but Sleep. Yeah, Sleep is my favorite. It's my favorite alongside Mama to play from the album. I just like how completely nuclear the guitars sound, just complete brutal wall of brutality rather. And I like the subject, and it's just a really just great one to play live. You could really lose yourself in it and feel it. And Sleep and Mama tend to be the two that are my favorites off that.
Yo, what's up, Travis? It's Youngblood. I mean, what an honor to be able to talk about this absolutely groundbreaking, culture-defining album. I think this is one of two of the greatest albums of all time. I think when I first found My Chemical Romance, I was in probably the worst time of my life in terms of my identity and figuring out who I could be. You know what I mean? They taught me that to be an outsider, to be exactly myself was such a beautiful thing. I think they were the closest thing to Queen and David Bowie I'd ever found. But they were doing it in a way that I wanted to dress like, I wanted to look like, I wanted to speak like. I think this album was just so beautiful when you hear a vocalist like that and a guitar player, like a savant guitar player, play together. I was just utterly mind blown. They are so deeply ingrained in my soul and in my culture. They shaped who I am. Thank you so much, My Chemical Romance. I adore you. Love you, Gerard. Love you, Daddy.
Hey Travis, hi Apple Music. This is Scary Pool Party. The song Dead, I just remember when I was really young, the first time I heard that song, the guitar start off and it goes like, yeah! It's like that scream and everything that goes into the song and then this amazing guitar solo. I just remember when I first heard that, I was like, sheesh! It's like, this band is sheesh, man. These guys are amazing. I was 12 years old when I first heard the album, and the Black Parade for a lot of people is very important in their lives. I would say the Black Parade is very influential in my discography of what the music I listen to now. It really shaped my identity and music palette. From 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge to the Black Parade, it's just such, a statement piece for just them writing amazing music. I'll forever be a fan.
You just heard Famous Last Words, one of the most emotional songs, in my opinion, on the record. This was such a great way to end the album. Talk to me about this song in particular, and reflecting back, where does this song sit with you now?
It's still a very powerful song to play live. It still really makes me feel a lot of very intense emotions. The story behind the song, interestingly, is when we were at the Paramore in pre-production, basically still writing, things, they got kind of dark. And I know that Mikey struggled with some mental issues. The place, we liked it, but it had this weird energy that, was kind of haunted. And so things would occasionally kind of get kind of dark. And one night I'm up, it was really late, because sometimes we would work well into the morning. And just with Ray, and I think he was kind of playing something, and basically this song started to kind of take shape, or at least emerge, and then we all started playing it together. I think one of the things I like so much about this song is I like the verses a lot, because even in the studio, I remember thinking that I wanted those verses to feel like very Judas Priest. I kind of wanted this old school driving metal sound, almost early days of metal sound.
Yeah.
Just to have that kind of swagger that Judas Priest has, But so yeah, it was written, at a dark time, and I think that's why there's so much emotion in that song.
And as we close the 15th anniversary special of My Chem's The Black Parade right here on Apple Music, what is your biggest takeaway from this album 15 years later?
Oh, my biggest takeaway is that my perspective of that album, really amazing thing to see, is the longer the album was out, it kind of just gained more and more importance. And I noticed over the years, people start looking back at that period in music, in that era, and Black Parade always comes up as one of the records of that era. But yeah, that's been the crazy thing to see, just even the world that's in the record, seeing that emerge through people's art, through people's writing, this entire, universe. It's been amazing, to see that album regarded the way it is today.
100%, man. I mean, it had such a big impact on me and my life and, for getting me into making music myself. And, there is this new generation of emo and punk kids discovering this album, due to streaming and social media for the very first time right now. What message do you want them to take away from the Black Parade?
Oh, my God. What message? Well, I feel like originally the album was kind of warning. Or more of at times it really did feel like a display of organs that you kind of reach deep in, and you just kind of pull out all your organs and you just lay them on a table for everybody to look at them and stare at them. And exciting that people are discovering it again. And then, what would be the message? I mean, more than anything, just stay alive, live your life, be kind. Don't be so hard on yourself. Just a lot of things in that record. It's complex. There's a bit of self-loathing in it, especially in the beginning.
100%. I think the world needs, a lot more kindness and a lot more self-forgiveness.
Yeah.
You guys will be heading on tour in March 2022. What can fans expect from the upcoming live shows?
When we thought about this tour and getting back together again and doing it, I think the idea was just to simply, in a lot of ways, not that we aren't going to try to make it look exciting for people, but in a lot of ways, just kind of reintroducing ourselves to the world and an audience. And I think all of us in the band thought the best way to do that was to kind of just be as much ourselves and as straight as possible in terms of kind of what you're getting up there. Because I felt like the most important thing to me for people in seeing us is to be able to go to a rock concert and have a very really authentic experience, the kind of situation that you would see at the best rock shows you would go to, where you literally did not know what was going to happen. We rehearsed the music a ton, but aside from a couple cues that we had to do every night during Black Parade, we didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know if I was going to be so struck with emotion I'd end up convulsing on the ground. I didn't know if Frank was going to tackle me. I didn't know. Every time we got on the stage, we really went into the unknown because we didn't have a plan. The plan was to just, play your heart out. So I think that a rock band especially, maybe not especially, but I think a rock band can really give that real experience to people. It's not all glossed over. There's mistakes. There's a rawness. And I think for quite a few years now, people haven't gotten to see that when they go to arenas. Now, granted, there's still a lot of amazing, really authentic rock bands touring, legendary bands. But I guess I meant more in terms of what became popular to go see in arenas for a period. I feel like you go see a rock band and you just get something different,
100%. Well, man, you can count on me to have a ticket and be in that crowd when you guys are on tour in March 2022. I, of course, want to thank you, Gerard, for taking the time to talk to us about this iconic album, a record that changed my life and a ton of other artists that I love and respect, lives as well.
Right on. Thank you so much.
No, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for joining me this legendary hour to celebrate the 15th anniversary of My Chemical Romance's The Black Parade. I'm leaving you with Blood, the hidden track. And if I gotta be honest, I'm still freaking out a little bit on the inside that I got to talk to Gerard Way. And, of course, thank him, thank the entire band of My Chemical Romance. And, of course, you, the fans, for tuning in to celebrate this iconic album.